OK, your category is world news. The answer is 1/5. What's the question?
Is this what fraction of the Jackson 5 might miss the Christmas party?
Is it how much of French and Saunders is Saunders?
Is it what proportion of Enid Blyton's The Famous Five can lick their own testicles?
How much of a Boris Johnson speech is not, well, I say, gosh?
Is it how does Jamie Oliver pronounce one fish?
It's about Libya, I think, and it is what proportion of Scotland's tourist income is provided by American tourists?
Very good. Well done, Hugh. Give me a round of applause. This is the news that campaigners have called on Americans to boycott travel to Scotland as well as the buying of Scottish goods in the wake of a decision to release Lockerbie bomber Ali al-Megrahi. The decision was roundly condemned by Barack Obama and FBI Director Robert Mueller. Scotland is now a rogue state, uncontrolled by Westminster. They've just gone crazy. Fred?
Yes. Well, I have to say, it's a double-edged sword because on the one hand, we've got a huge international incident. On the other hand, we've annoyed the Americans.
They're not going to come on holiday to Scotland. Who had a holiday booked to go to Scotland in September? I wouldn't go to Scotland in September if I was going into hiding. The only person making that trip should be an academic doing a report on the exact moment when depression turns into violence. Americans don't even have passports. Only 10% of them have passports. Americans boycotting Scotland is like Wayne Rooney boycotting the Large Hadron Collider.
It's not just, it's the Scottish goods, though. It is a genuine fear that if America... that your sales of whiskey, shortbread and those hats that have hair attached to the hat.
How many haggises are we selling in Jackson, Mississippi? 2, 5?
I will say this, as an Irish person, on the website that says boycott Scotland, they offer as an alternative Ireland, which is kind of... We're not interchangeable, although we have renamed our whiskey Freedom Whiskey.
Like Ireland doesn't have any links to terrorism.
No, exactly.
Not to that terrorism, no.
I'm actually staying in Scotland this month, and I know for a fact that they don't care, because I got a taxi to my flat, and the driver came out to help me with my bags, and some Americans pulled over and said, "Excuse me, you couldn't give us any advice on how to get to the station, could you?" And he said, "Hey, get a sat nav!"
What I loved about it was the fact that Kenny McCaskill said that the reason why they let him go is because Scotland is a compassionate nation. And you're like, what? The Glasgow kiss is the only kiss that involves the forehead. It's freezing there, they make him wear skirts, and the last terrorist in Scotland was on fire, and Jim Smeaton still tried to beat him up.
They don't make us wear skirts, we choose to do that.
It's not Jim Smeaton. They're not all called Jimmy, he's John.
They've released El Megrahi. The Scotland have sent him back on compassionate grounds because he's only got 3 months to live. Well, Gordon Brown has only got a year to live politically, so could we not send him back to Scotland?
There was a genuine... Because Al Megrahi, yes, has 3 months to live, but he's 57, so he was very close to becoming Scotland's oldest man.
The great thing about Al Megrahi is he actually sounds Scottish. Big Al Megrahi. He sounds like he played centre-half for Dunfermline or something. Yeah, you get round the full-back, but often Big Al Megrahi was there to clear.
OK, which famous Londoner missed out on tickets to the games?
Jack the Ripper.
Yes. No, another one. Another more famous Londoner than that.
Dick Van Dyke.
Not Dick Van Dyke, no.
I can't believe it! Oh, put down for loads of them!
Oh, blimey, Mary.
Which Londoner famously missed out on tickets?
Boris Johnson
Boris
didn't
Johnson.
get any tickets, and he's obviously not very confident, is he?
That's Boris Johnson about to do a knife attack.
Did you see John Prescott's offer to the people who didn't manage to get tickets, John Prescott put a tweet out saying, if you've missed out on tickets to the Olympic Games, the East Hull Olympic Games start today in the park in my constituency, which is kind of like saying, can't afford the opera? Well, there's a tramp at the bottom of my road. Yes, he whistles my way.
Greg, why are you following John Prescott on Twitter?
Private reasons.
What? OK, let me ask you the Olympics. What is the first taste of Olympic fever that we're going to get?
We are basically going to have the Olympic flame.
Yes, we are.
Which is apparently going to go around the country, including 6 of our islands, including Guernsey, Jersey and the Orkneys. And that's, of course, if when it goes to the Orkneys, they don't keep whoever takes it there and worship them as a god.
It's some former Olympic athletes are going to be taking the torch round. Well, you know that all round the country, street cleaners along the route are going, please not Paula Radcliffe, please not Paula Radcliffe.
I go to East London quite a lot. When it gets to East London, it's just going to be stopped every 5 seconds with people just going, excuse me, I could buy your light, could I?
And what's happened? What are the police? What's being offered to the police who are guarding the Olympic torch on this 8,000-mile journey?
Counselling.
Counselling?
Counselling to help them get back into the proper world at the end of it.
And they'll have been...
Although, actually, they need counselling before they start, if you're going to run for 70 days behind a flame.
They've developed some sort of, like, moth syndrome. If they've been running behind a flame for the last 70... They're just constantly jumping at the moon.
For God's sake, don't put him on the night shift again. It was a disaster last time.
Jumping over walls to get to people's barbecues and just stand staring at it. I worship the flame now. The flame is my god now. What has Work and Pension Secretary Ian Duncan-Smith been calling for this week?
He has said, Ian Duncan-Smith has called on British bosses to employ more British people. And the British bosses have said that they can't do that because foreign workers work much more efficiently and the British have lost their work ethic. And that's as much as I'm going to say, unless I'm on double time. And I get another tea break.
Well, as a foreigner, I'll pick up the slack then, won't I?
The only thing that gets me is I have a very left-wing and liberal attitude to Eastern European immigration. The only thing that comes to it is, though, is you go, welcome them, let them come in, but then you get refused entry to a nightclub by a bouncer from Lithuania. And suddenly your lefty attitude to immigration takes a big step to the right for the...
It's not just bouncers from Lithuania who turn you away, though, is it?
Well, here's the thing. Every bouncer on every nightclub door in Dublin now, it seems, are from Eastern Europe. And Eastern European bouncers, they're hard-working, they're conscientious, but they don't watch Mock the Week, right? It means nothing trying to get into a nightclub in Dublin. And then you hate yourself for the stuff you come out with. Lefty liberal going, what do you mean you won't let me in? We let you in.
I had a letter published in the Daily Mail last week saying that a lot of Russian women get into this country inside other Russian women.
It's true when Eastern Europeans, they are very keen to work, aren't they?
Yes.
I mean, as an example, right, there was a Serbian and a Czech who were able to win the Wimbledon Championship in 2 weeks, whereas a British person with the same qualifications has been unable to do it for 75 years.
You don't mind having, like, efficient cherry pickers, but you don't want, like, an Eastern European traffic warden, do you? Like, I gave out 500 tickets this morning. I gave out 500 tickets this morning. I need to drink some beer.
What does he go?
I grew up on Dracula films.
Parking ticket.
You cannot park here. No parking in this area.
Sorry, is that Dracula or Bob Dylan?
You cannot park here.
The topic is etiquette.
Which... I think there's been a deterioration in etiquette, there's been a deterioration in manners, and there's been a deterioration in language. And as a Scot, you know, we're often accused of using the F word too much. And, you know, that could be true. I think, though, it suits the pattern of our voice. It suits the rhythm of our speech. It actually fits in quite nicely. But I think I have found the epitome of the overuse of the F word. It happened at a St Johnstone versus Partick Thistle football match, and the detail is vital in padding out the routine. It was in McDermott Stadium, a stadium that can hold 10,000 people, they've been told. And 5 minutes into the second half, something happened on the pitch that the man 5 rows in front of me was not at all happy about, and he stood up and he pointed at the pitch and he shouted, "Fucking! Boo!" There you are. Because, you know, sometimes boo just isn't enough.
In other politics news, why has a Lib Dem councillor from Devon hit the headlines?
She's a Liberal Democrat councillor, but she's also a sex worker, Dara.
She's not just a member of the Lib Dems, she's a Lib Dem councillor. For Bidwell, is it? Bideford, excuse me.
This is yeah.
That's her.
Yeah.
You'd vote for that, wouldn't you?
What's funny about it, aside from this is a traditional get-up. She also does the following, if I get this right. She does Miss Whiplash, that's rubbish. She just turns up and goes, "Oh, my back." And the other one is Miss Santa. That is entirely creepy, isn't it? And the final one is Sexy Gypsy Lady, which is just hilarious, isn't it? Just the idea of someone in Devon going, "Hello? Is that Sexy Gypsy Lady?"
I'm worried about... What do you think she plugs into these 3 sockets?
She's got a chat line, though.
Yeah.
Right, apparently £1.50 a minute, you can call her up. Now, if you ever call up your council, you never get through. How brilliant to know that you can definitely get through to one of your councillors, you know, and you get a bit of sexy talk at the same time. I'd like to know about my planning permission. Ooh, you haven't got planning permission, you bad boy. I'll spank you, spank you.
It's actually more socially acceptable to be a sex worker than a Liberal Democrat.
And you know what? I've always thought the Devon accent to be the sexiest on a chat line. The amount of times I've wanted to hear someone say, "Oh, I'm not wearing any clothes, my lover."
If only she would say that, though, you'll probably be trying to whack one off while she's telling you about proportional representation. And I know from experience that's a tough one.
Has anyone ever rang up a sex line?
What were the chances that we
have.
You know, now's the time to, you know, that I really want to share that? No, I haven't.
Have you not? I did when I was 14. I got caught by my mum. Horrific.
I know this voice. Too easy. Come on. You threw it up. I had to hit it.
I'd like to get myself in trouble rather than my mum. I was 14 and I was getting bullied at school, and rather than, learn karate, I used to ring up the sex line. I once had an argument with one lady who I said, "Would you do this to me?" And she said, "No, I won't. I need you to do this to me first." And I plucked up the courage to go, "You'll do it to me, and do you know why, madam? Because the customer is always right."
Our next round is called Newsreel. We play on a recent piece of footage featuring people in the news and ask Hugh to suggest what might be being said. This week's clip features Boris Johnson and David Cameron.
Oh, tally-ho, look out, posh boy coming through. Well, I wonder if there's any grub. I'm absolutely starving.
Now, remember why we're here, Boris? We're here to reassure the public about spending cuts, not just so you can eat.
No, but look, there's cake. There's cake. There's loads of cake. I love cake. They've got all sorts of cake. They've got pink cake. They've got blue cake. What am I? Am I pink? Am I blue? Am I pink? I've never been pink. God, I sound like William Hague. Anyway, all the cake's on cameras. He's got loads of cash from the spending cuts.
Actually, this is the last £10 left in Britain, so we'd best be careful with it.
Well, I want a meringue. I love a meringue. I love all the cream in a meringue.
Well, why don't you share mine? I mean, times are hard.
Well, I could, I suppose, but I have a rule. I have a rule. I never share anything with another man, unless, of course, it's his wife. Here we go. Now, careful. Don't get any of the white stuff up there. No, that would be very bad. Anyway, so do you have any change? We were hoping to save some for the poor people. It doesn't really matter, but if there is some left over... £3, lovely. That's absolutely perfect. Yes, oops. There we go. That's the Pakistani betting syndicate satisfied. Oh, look, lovely. Sticky fingers. Yes, I love a sticky finger. That's not the first. Oh, look, a genuine Cockney. Hello, how are you? Oh, Lauren Lummy, who shot Cock Robin, apples and pears. Down the old chimney and Mary Poppins, the Cray twins, innit? I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well done, you. My favourite Olympic torch story, by the way, is this week. The Olympic torch was brought on the raft to the slalom course. What brilliant plan is this? Right, 1 second later, there's the Olympic torch. And it had to be brought and lit from the mother flame, which apparently is discreetly held in a miner's lamp. It's like a Zippo. And they're not bringing it back to Greece. Like and it had to be relit.
Olympic flame has to be lit, kindled by the rays of the sun, which is not our strong point. I can't help feeling they should have just given us a special dispensation. So instead of a torch, everyone could have had a flannel. We could have had like a damp flannel, and you kind of wring yours out into the other person's flannel. There you are.
What's weird about the Olympic torch days? It's having this incredibly exciting time. It's been on a zip wire in Newcastle. It's been sailing. It's been whitewater rafting. It's like it's got some sort of deal with the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
It's as if it's sort of somebody's stag do or something, isn't it? Taking the Olympic torch, whitewater rafting. I'm amazed it wasn't left in the booth of a lap dancing club or something. I've got so many of my umbrellas.
The next subject is North-South divide. There goes Michael.
Right, yes. Now, I am from the south. You noticed? I have been north up the M1, and I don't know what happens to the word the. It seems to disappear at about junction 25 on the M1, and the word the just goes, that's it from me, I'm getting off. You go on ahead. Are you coming with? No, I'm not interested up there. And then you get there and they don't have this up to fridge, or you're going up to... What are you doing? My first experience of this was when I went to the cinema in Leeds. I saw The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I had more fun asking the woman what it is I'd booked to see than watching the entire movie itself. So what is it I'm seeing here today? Toot one, toot witch and toot wardrobe. What's she talking about? Are you hearing this? Are you taking toothpaste? Yes, of course. I thought it might be a nice idea maybe to go to HMV and get a DVD of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, maybe The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and perhaps an album by The. And just line them up on the counter. What is it I've decided to purchase here? Toot one, toot witch and toot wardrobe. Toot good, toot bad and ugly. And toot toot. Thank you.
Well done, Michael. Why have mother-in-laws been in the news this week?
A woman wrote a letter saying that her daughter-in-law was uncouth, and that there was a wedding coming up. She was uncouth. She ate her dinner from the wrong side.
What? What's that? What is that? Is there a direction? You have to go left to right with your dinner. You have to go like the typing.
In polite circles,
yeah.
And you get your dinner put in front of you. You start on the left-hand side and make your way across. Jack
was
will
this
tell
the
you.
plate?
What? What? And if they put like all the steak, you have to eat your way through the stuff until eventually.
I knew you people were plebs, but this is unbelievable. In the East End, we start on the left-hand side, we make our way over to the other side.
What happens if you don't like the stuff on the left-hand side?
Well, you're in trouble, isn't you?
You have to turn the plate round.
So if your pork chop is there and your potatoes are there, you have to eat your pork chop first.
Yep.
And then the potatoes afterwards.
Optional, the potatoes. As long as you've started on the left, everyone goes...
What if it's soup?
What?
Can I explain this? Yes. A lady called Carolyn Byrne this week sent an email to her future daughter-in-law. She's stepmother of the guy she's marrying, a lady called Heidi Withers. And it went viral. And in which she accused her of being very uncouth, lacking in grace, said that it was disgraceful that she'd never sent her a thank you card for the time she spent, that she shouldn't have stayed in bed while the rest of the house was up. And basically, and said, essentially, that, you know, oh yeah, you shouldn't get married in a castle unless you live in a castle.
Which is ridiculous. You don't get... If you live in a castle, you get married in St. Paul's Cathedral.
Yeah. You do, yeah.
If you live in a castle, you can get married.
I can't help it. He lures me in. I loved the Count. He was my favourite thing. One peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Yeah.
My favourite thing was they've then asked them for comments afterwards, and they've all stonewalling, haven't they? Nobody said anything. The bride and groom haven't, apart from her father,
yeah.
who came out with the great quote, which was that woman. Basically, she's got a head so far up her arse, she doesn't know whether to speak or fart. And this is the bloke, right, who's got to make a speech at the wedding. Yeah. If he's saying that now, get a ticket for that reception.
I think it's nice to see a mother sort of, like, looking after her son, because whenever I go out with girls, my mum always takes the side of the girl, probably justifiably. But I was going out with a girl recently, and it was, like, quite a difficult patch to the relationship. And I don't normally do it, but I was like, I'm going to look on her phone. On her phone, I found a text message from my mum saying, I think you deserve better.
It's very different. Etiquette in other people's houses is very different. There's lots of etiquette I've never, ever understood. As a child, genuinely, I used to get very confused when I said, you know, you mustn't eat with your mouth open. And I genuinely thought, how'd you get the food in? It's also that ludicrous thing about when you are eating soup, you're meant to push the spoon away. And you think, my mouth's here. Why am I... What's all that about?
You know, if you go to someone's house for dinner in the evening, right, and you go upstairs and you lay a massive log in the toilet that won't go down. What is the etiquette there?
You break it down with a brush. That's what you do.
You do battle with it.
You fight it and you win. And like soup, you push away. You push away.
The worst thing is if you go to... This has happened to me. You go to the loo and you find there's a massive log already in it. Yeah. And what do you do then?
You walk out and you go, who left this disgraceful thing in here?
I had to beat someone else's massive log to death before I could go back downstairs for fear that they'd think that I had left.
They were all looking at you normally, apart from one person looking at you going, you have destroyed my log. You and I both know what I did there, and you can never tell anyone. I am the winner here. The question I was looking for is how much will now be invested in developing the site of Britain's first super casino. This is the news that the city of Manchester, the 16-year-old outsider, won the race to become the site of the country's first Las Vegas-style super casino. £265 million will be spent in a rundown area of the city.
One thing we know for sure is that people in Blackpool will be hanging themselves today, whether or not they've heard about the super casino.
Hey, don't you clap that, right? Telling you now, right? You just... it's like oxygen to them. It's like oxygen to the flame, ladies and gentlemen. If you keep doing that, I'll throw a few more briquettes one at a time. Right? More professional hosts would do this in a sweeter way, but you fucking calm the fuck down the line, right? We have plenty of time. Ed Byrne, what did you want to say? At least wait till I'd finish speaking.
It doesn't... Ed Byrne, what did you want to say? Is it?
It doesn't go... Ed, what did you want to say?
Doesn't matter.
Ed, no, shut up.
This is great. I'm loving this. You go. No, you shut up. No, you go.
Class of children today. I don't know what's up with you all.
I've written the word boobless on my calculator.
Ed, I apologise. What did you want to say?
It's really not worth it now.
Fine. We shall move on. Topic is Scotland.
I have this covered. Is that your image of Scotland? You know that's 3 English blokes at a wedding? Do you remember years ago when they were making Braveheart, everyone said, oh, it's ridiculous, Mel Gibson playing a Scottish guy. That's not going to be very convincing. And look at him now, an alcoholic racist. The most Scottish thing I've ever seen, I was going through a town called Bathgate at about 11:30 at night, and there was a guy pissing against the front door. He then took out his keys and went inside.
Thank you, Ryan.
My favourite story during the week of the procession of the torch and the endless procession of the torch is Jill Mackinson Sanders, who's the mayor of a town called Louth in Lincolnshire, who decided, as the torch was passing through her town, to dress up as one of the local products of the town of Louth of Lincolnshire. The town of Louth of Lincolnshire apparently is famous for its sausages. Here's how she tried to dress up to welcome the torch. She ran alongside the torch, as a giant penis down the street, screaming. It does not look like me. Nothing. My arms do not start above my chin.
No, that's for the 100th programme and the first time we've been heckled by the audience. You look like a penis sausage.
Penis sausage. You probably can do some clever directorial thing just to disprove the fact that I look, can be done. Lucy, just to scotch the rumours that I look anything like a 6-foot-tall penis sausage.
Oh, look there.
Nothing like that.
Hold your cards up.
Other way. Other hand.
Well, somebody's got a new Twitter avatar.
The next topic is bad things to say at the opening of the new Wembley Stadium.
Is it just me, or does it all feel a bit wobbly?
Due to a double booking, England's first match is against Simply Red.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Blunt.
Welcome to the 2008 Cup Final. So if you could all make your way to the coaches, we're on our way to Cardiff.
And all for the same price as building a rope ladder between the Earth and Jupiter.
Can Mr. Bin Laden report to lost property, please? Mr. Bin Laden.
And who knows, maybe here, one day, with the right linesman, England can cheat their way to another World Cup.
And maybe one day, with the right bunch of hooligans from Scotland, these goalposts can get trashed all over again.
Cost £100 million to demolish Wembley. If you'd had your last game against Scotland, we'd have done it for nothing.